Part 62. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 620. Although Kongshanfang City is becoming more and more prosperous, Chongshan Academy remains the same. Looking at the broad school gate, Li Ning felt very cordial. Two worthy brothers, this is where my Chongshan Academy sect is located. Zhou Lang and Yang De looked at the four characters Chongshan Academy on the plaque hanging high above the school gate, with golden light scattered in the sunlight and an inexplicable sense of sanctity, with intense fire in their eyes. Ever since they learned about the existence of spiritual practice through their sworn brother, they have been yearning for it. Now I finally have the opportunity to get started. Seeing the expressions of the two of them, Li Ning smiled, stepped up the steps, and walked towards the school gate. Registration is required to enter and exit the school gate. This is especially true if you bring non-academy disciples in with you. Fortunately, with the guidance of the disciples on duty, it didn't take long. Uncle Master, your two friends have already registered. This is a pass for them. Please be sure to take it. Looking at the beautiful cloud patterns on the seal and the light cyan jade plaque, Li Ning reached out to take it. Thank you very much. Uncle, you're welcome, this is what we should do. According to the practice of inner disciples of Chongshan Academy, one generation is one generation. These disciples at Chongshan Chang'an Academy are now considered the third generation disciples of Chongshan sect. It is natural to call Li Ning his uncle. After smiling and nodding, he greeted Zhou Lang and Yang De and walked into the door. After activating his magic power to support the two of them, Li Ning activated the projection of the celestial elephant gate in his danshan. In an instant, a space passage large enough for three people to enter appeared in front of him. Let's go. The two people, who were looking forward to it, nodded quickly, feeling that their eyes were blurred, their feet were light, and the world had changed before their eyes. The extremely rich spiritual energy of heaven and earth surrounded him. Li Ning took a deep breath of enjoyment, and an unprecedented sense of comfort emerged from the bottom of his heart. If he didn't have his parents and family, he really wanted to continue cultivating here forever. With the support of strong spiritual energy and the ability to often listen to his master's sermons, combined with the two, his cultivation will definitely improve rapidly. Zhou Lang looked at the huge bluestone square at his feet, and then at the vast mountains and plains in the distance, as well as the various buildings with high eaves and strange shapes hidden among the green trees. His face was filled with shock. Next to him, Yang De also widened his eyes when he saw the 7 inverted peaks with sharp tops and sharp bottoms, strangely floating in the air. Zhou Lang took a deep breath. Brother, is this where your master is? Li Ning nodded. The location of the immortal sect is truly extraordinary. I never thought there was such a transcendent place in the world. It's really eye-opening, Yang De agreed. Li Ning smiled proudly. Let's go, I will take you to meet your teacher. He activated his magic power and carried the two of them flying towards the 7 inverted peaks in the distance. The closer we got, the more deafening the sound of the water became. Only then did Zhou Lang and Yang De see clearly that there were 6 huge waterfalls, like 6 huge silver dragons, roaring and falling from the top of the peak. The vast water force is earth-shattering. The surging water flowed down thousands of feet and gathered in the valley below to form a lake with a size of tens of thousands of acres. The churning lake water stirred up hundreds of feet, making the originally calm lake surface filled with waves and mist. In the thick mist, a blue-black figure can be seen faintly, moving around, as if there is a dragon or snake hiding in it. After Zhou Lang and Yang De took a look, they were quickly attracted by the beautiful scenery of the green flowers and jade trees at the top of the 6 peaks. There are different buildings on each of these 6 peaks, shining brightly in the sun, and they obviously have different functions. 6 colorful bridges connect them with the largest main peak in the middle. The most eye-catching thing on the main peak is a magnificent and broad temple. The main hall, which is 1,000 feet long, 900 feet wide and 300 feet high, seems to be made of beautiful jade, shining in the sunlight, sacred and majestic. Li Ning led the two of them and landed on the thousands-acre bluestone platform in front of the main hall. A jade path with a width of 100 feet passed through 9 rows of 18 giant bronze cauldrons that were 99 feet high before arriving at the edge of the steps. After passing through the 9,990 steps, and then crossing the 99-foot platform, you will reach the main hall supported by 18 giant pillars. 9 palace doors, 100 feet high and 90 feet wide, are lined up side by side. Just the threshold is 3 feet high. Above the middle door, there is a huge plaque with gold frame and blue background. The 4 words Chongshan Hall are intimidating. On a beam on the east side of the main hall, there is a huge clock 99 feet high with a relief of Pulao. The black bell exudes richness and simplicity. Li Ning led the two of them across the steps step by step, and after passing through the palace door, they saw that the cold hall was not in front of them. There were white clouds on the top floor, and soft light penetrated the clouds and mist, illuminating the magnificent space of hundreds of acres as bright as day. The sky on both sides was high and the clouds were light, as if they were standing in the sky at this moment, rather than in a closed space. Under the feet is a piece of light red jade, from which a faint cloud of mist rises. When walking on it, a comforting warmth rises from the soles of the feet and flows throughout the body. This kind of warmth not only makes people feel less anxious, but also reveals a softness. Although the Chongshan Hall is extremely spacious, there are no supporting columns or any common furniture inside. Only on the inner wall of the main hall, there is a black word Dao that is dozens of feet in size, exuding a vast, profound atmosphere. In addition, under the word Dao, 3 feet in the sky, a white cloud bed is suspended. The cloud bed is not big, only about 10 feet in size. At this moment, it was deserted. Li Ning led the two of them to the cloud bed and stood 3 feet away. He took a deep breath, held his breath, and said respectfully, "Disciple Li Ning, please see your mentor." In an instant, Wu Bo's originally calm white cloud bed began to fluctuate rapidly. White clouds were boiling and circling, and accompanied by a rich aura, a tall young man with a solemn face, wearing a green Taoist robe, a gold rope around his waist, and a green gourd, appeared in front of the 3 of them. Seeing the person coming, Li Ning looked extremely excited and knelt down. "Disciple Li Ning, please meet your mentor. May your mentor live long." Zhou Lang and Yang De also knelt down in a hurry. But Su Junming, who had transformed into a guard in Chang'an Cave in Chongshan, slowly glanced over the 3 of them. There was a touch of emotion in my heart. When he initially took Li Ning under his tutelage and allowed him to successfully embark on the path of spiritual practice, he originally thought that he would no longer have anything to do with Zhou Lang and Yang De. He never imagined that the power of fate would make him feel powerful. Li Ning, Zhou Lang, and Yang De have become what people call the 3 heroes of Kilug. 6 months ago, Li Ning even sent him a letter, asking if he could also let the 2 of them become sworn brothers and join Kongshan's sect. Su Junming thought about it briefly and agreed. If Zhou Lang had not interfered with him, he would have become a disciple of Bai Gai, one of the 2 elders of Songshan, because of his daughter Zhou Qingyun. As for Yang De, he died young in the Bukshu Mountain and was not mentioned much. Judging from his qualifications, he is quite good. Everyone, get up. Thank you, mentor. Wait until they get up. Are you Ning's adopted brothers, Zhou Lang and Yang De? Back to the real person, exactly. The 2 of them hurriedly said respectfully. Ning told me about becoming a disciple. However, my Chongshan lineage has its own rules. If you can pass the test, you can join my sect and practice Taoism. If you can't pass, you can go back and forth wherever you want. The 2 people's hearts tightened, and they quickly said, "I will obey the immortal Lord's decree." After Su Junming nodded, he reached out and pointed, and a black stream of light fell to the ground. In an instant, a 3-foot-high black stone door with embossed gourd vines appeared in front of the three people. Seeing it, Li Ning felt a little complicated in his heart. He had repeatedly failed in the human soul divine sex DZI level test, so that he had no chance to be the direct successor of the sect and had only one named disciple. Okay, you go in. There are people and land inside, 2 tests. If you can pass the test of people, you can practice Taoism under my Chongshan section. If you can pass the test of land, you can be worshipped by me, the direct descendant of the mountain. After hearing this, the two of them looked at the tall black stone gate not far away, which was related to the path to immortality, and felt nervous. After taking a deep breath, he bowed deeply to Su Junming, who was sitting high on the cloud platform, and stepped in. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 621. I heard from you, senior sister Miao, that you killed the remnants of the Huashan sect on the Wei River 3 days ago. Huo Tai Sui Chi Lu and Xiang Cheng Lady Shichan Yi, Su Junming said in disguise. Disciple is ashamed. If it had not been for the help of the 2 disciples, senior sister Miao, at the critical moment, I would have died under the Chilu 5 poison Kinkan needle. Seeing Li Ning's ashamed look, Su Junming frowned slightly. He has been under his disciple for 15 years. Without the assistance of the bronze mirror, his own qualifications and understanding have made him reach the late stage of Jindan, which is already commendable. Being able to kill the nascent soul cultivator with the cultivation of Jindan is an extraordinary thing in itself. As for your 2 nephews, although they are a generation younger than you, they have accumulated many years of cultivation, and their qualifications and understanding are both excellent. He is at the top level, and he entered Taoism earlier than you, so he should be better than you in cultivation. With a wave of his hand, a porcelain bottle slowly flew towards Li Ning. There are 108 5 yellow pills that I have trained in this. 1 pill every 7 days. After taking it, it will be enough for you to advance to the peak of the golden pill. Thank you very much, Master. Li Ning raised his hands above his head and took the elixir respectfully. At this moment, the human soul divine gate next to him suddenly bloomed with azure aura, and then the figures of Zhou Lang and Yang De emerged from it. Su Junming saw this and was slightly surprised. The qualifications of the 2 people naturally do not reach the level of earth character, but they were able to break through 300 illusion tests in a row. Both perseverance and character are excellent. Seeing the magnificent hall in front of them again, Zhou Lang and Yang De had a daze in their eyes. They are still immersed in the previous illusion and unable to extricate themselves. Su Junming flicked his finger. The sound of dong penetrated the soul. As if a basin of cold water was poured on their heads, Zhou Lang and Yang De woke up instantly and quickly handed over their hands. See, Immortal Lord. Su Junming nodded and said, you 2 are capable of passing the human soul level test of our human soul divine gate, but they both failed in front of the earth divine gate. Hearing this, both of them showed disappointment on their faces. Master, the 2 of them. After waving his hand to interrupt Li Ning, he said, although you have not passed the test of the word, your qualifications, character, perseverance, and understanding are still good. If you are willing, I can accept you as named disciples. Zhou Lang and Yang Da's faces instantly showed joy, and they fell to their knees. We are willing to worship the Immortal Lord as our teacher. For them, getting immortality is the biggest gain of this trip. Su Junming nodded slightly. Zhou Lang comes forward. Disciple pays homage to his mentor. Zhou Lang took 2 steps forward and then knelt down again. I pass on to you a copy of the Chongshan Yuan Yang Zhenjing, the fundamental teaching of the Chongshan lineage, and a copy of the Greenwood Sutra of Immortality, the fundamental teaching of the 5 elements Wood Wei. The disciples of the inner sect of Chongshan lineage carry with them a spiritual treasure, the sapphire staff, a storage magic weapon, the red gourd, and 12 innate spiritual pills, the 3 yellow pills. Finally, the projection of the Sankei Shenmen, which symbolizes the identity of a disciple of Chongshan lineage, was injected into Zhou Lang's body. Feeling the changes in his body, especially the 2 extra scriptures in his mind, and looking at the 2 spiritual treasures and a bottle of spiritual elixir in his palm, Zhou Lang suppressed the excitement in his heart. Disciple thanks my master. I will work hard to practice in the future and tie a grass ring to repay the master's great kindness. After nodding with a smile. As long as you have this intention, go down. Yes. He turned his eyes and looked at Yangde, who was full of expectation. Yangde comes forward. Disciple Yangde comes to meet his mentor. He trotted to the front and kowtowed 3 times. Su Junming smiled lightly. In addition to testing aptitude, the human soul divine sect can also detect the 365 levels of illusion. Those who have been tested are most suitable for cultivating that kind of avenue. I pass on to you a copy of the Chongshan Yuan Yang Zhenjing, the fundamental teaching of the Chongshan lineage, and the Golden Emperor's Immortal Killing Sutra, the fundamental teaching of the 5 elements Golden Path. The inner disciples of the Chongshan lineage carry with them a spiritual treasure Qingyun sword, a storage magic treasure red gourd, and 12 innate spiritual pills 3 yellow pills. He also projected the human soul gate into his danshan. Yang Dada is grateful to his teacher. He will work hard to practice in the future and repay his teacher. Su Junming smiled and nodded. Looking at the 3 people who were in high spirits, they had their own concerns. Although these 3 people are also outstanding cultivation talents in the world of cultivation, Su Junming accepted them because of these other things. In addition to merit, the most important thing is for Li Yingxiang and Zhou Qingyun, the 2 top geniuses who have gathered the luck of the world. Only by taking in these 2 people and breaking the prosperous situation of Yime's 3 heroes and 2 clouds can we gather more luck in the 1,000-year catastrophe and compete with Yime for the position of leader of the righteous path and the protagonist of the catastrophe. He frowned slightly and thought to himself. It's really easy to say that people came so quickly. A ray of light flew in from the outside. When she landed on the ground, she transformed into a silver-haired old woman wearing a yellow ge robe and holding a bamboo stick. Shi Liun meets her mentor. Our Lady of the Golden Needle has now become a disciple of Su Junming and has become a registered disciple. Get up. I'll introduce you to you. This is your senior sister, Our Lady of the Golden Needle Shi Liun. These 3 are the 3 heroes of Qiluo Lining, Zhou Lang, and Yang Da except for Lining, who was taken under my wing many years ago. The other 2 are just starting out. See senior sister. The 3 people said quickly. Shi Liun nodded, and with a wave of his hand, 3 rays of light flew into the hands of the 3 of them. These 3 swords are what I usually refine. Now I will give them to my 3 junior brothers as a meeting gift. Li Ning looked at the size of the small sword in his palm, which was radiant with light. It was obviously not an ordinary sword. Sister, this magic sword is too precious, we cannot accept it? Zhou Lang and Yangde did not dare to accept it. Your senior sister's weapon refining skills are the best in the cultivation world, and you have many treasures in your hands. Since I've given you 3 swords, just accept them. Our Lady of the Golden Needle also nodded with a smile. Although she has extraordinary skills in refining weapons and has collected a lot of good materials from the Chongshan Dharma ceremony over the years, she is not in a position to give magic weapons to just anyone. Especially 3 top magic swords. With my mentor's current status in the world of cultivation, if he accepts 3 people with no foundation, even if they are just named disciples, they must be outstanding. It is better to form a good relationship in advance. After hearing his mentor's instructions, Li Ning hesitated for a moment before bowing and clasping his fists, expressing gratitude. Thank you, senior sister, for the treasure. Zhou Lang and Yangde also quickly thanked them. We are from the same sect and should love each other. Jinzhen, I already know your purpose of coming. You first take your 3 junior brothers to Qingyun Peak for resettlement. Yes, 3 junior brothers, come with me. The three of them nodded, bowed to Su Junming, and then followed Our Lady of the Golden Needle out of the hall. Watching them leave, Su Junming flicked his fingers, and a space channel as big as the mouth of a bowl appeared in mid-air. Hung Hua, go to the mountain gate for me and take Yimei and his party to Chongshan Hall. Disciple, obey. A cold voice came from it. Su Junming waved his hand and the black hole disappeared. He looked deeply outside the hall. I wonder if the visitor is evil this time. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 622. Chapter 610, the third cultivator comes to visit, and the two factions compete with each other with swords. Amitabha, may I be reborn in the vast caves and caves of the mountains. An old monk with a wizened figure, wearing clean old monk robes, said in surprise. Zen Master Tianmen's clairvoyance is indeed extraordinary. Miao Chufang, the red flower Madonna, who was wearing a long blue dress and a navy blue floral scarf covering her head full of black hair, said with a smile. The slightly dim golden light in the old monk's eyes slowly disappeared. I would like to congratulate fellow Taoist. In this reincarnation, not only will I have to worship a famous teacher, but I will also become an earth immortal. Miao Chufang smiled lightly. She was also glad that she could become a disciple of Chongshan. Compared to outsiders, direct disciples like her know best what the words Chongshan direct disciple mean, which is not only a rapid improvement in cultivation, but also a broader vision and a greater future. It was only after becoming a disciple of Chongshan that she realized that this world was not the only one. Chongshan Academy is a large sect spanning 3 worlds. Moreover, the most precious treasure of the gate, the bronze mirror, is even more mysterious and unparalleled. Old Zen Master deserves the prize. But I am very curious. If Yimei didn't come to Chongshan today to bring back the purple Ying sword, why did the old Zen Master and Beimei Zen Master come with him? Zen Master Beimei, who has white eyebrows longer than the corners of his eyes and is wearing a yellow monk's robe, raised his eyebrows slightly and whispered the Buddha's name. The two of us were witnesses to Su Zhenjun's return of the purple Ying sword 10 years ago. Now we must have a beginning and an end, and see the sword return to Yimei with our own eyes, so that we can live up to the original entrustment of Master Chenmei. Amitabha, what Beimei said is also what I think in my heart, Tianmeng said. His eyes passed over the 2 monks and settled on the middle-aged man next to them, with a tall crown and a rich belt, and an elegant temperament, as if he was a famous scholar. Friend Miao Dao, you are really lucky. 2 eminent Buddhist monks can escort Yimei. Qi Shuming smiled faintly, as if he didn't hear the sarcasm in her words at all. The 2 Zen masters are upright and honest, and they have always been eager to do justice. They will naturally speak up for Yimei. Miao Chufang frowned slightly. The other party was mocking their Chongshan Academy for their domineering behavior. Just as he was about to speak, he saw that he had already reached the entrance of Chongshan Hall and closed his mouth again. Looking at the magnificent palace in front of him, Qi Shuming's eyes flashed with a hint of haze. Although Yimei occupies the entire Sichuan province, Chongshan Academy also occupies the destiny of the 3 Qin dynasty. Moreover, compared to the Yimei master-disciple model, Chongshan Academy has extended its power to the common people. It was only 20 years after the sect was established, but it has already opened nearly 100 branches in the 3 Qin lands and trained millions of disciples. Although the vast majority of them are just ordinary people who are literate and know how to fist and kick, there are also tens of thousands of monks who have truly entered the innate realm. Tens of thousands of disciples. There has never been any sect in the world of spiritual cultivation with such a large number of disciples. Whenever he thinks of this number, Qi Shuming feels extremely heavy in his heart. Although Chongshan Academy is a cultivation sect, what they pursue is not at all the model of master-disciple inheritance in the cultivation world. The alternative academy system, coupled with the master-disciple inheritance system, has become a large sect with influence in every corner of the spiritual world in just 20 years. After deeply studying the rise model of Chongshan Academy, he also decided to copy it to strengthen Ime. But after thinking about it for a while, I gave up. Teaching disciples requires a lot of time. Although there are hundreds of Ime disciples, there are only a few disciples who are willing to sacrifice their precious practice time to teach disciples. Moreover, he does not have the authority of Chongshan True Lord Su Junming, as the founder of the sect, to make final decisions on sect affairs. It would be great if Master Chenmei was still here. This thought came up again in Qi Shuming's heart. Facing Chongshan Academy, a large and rapidly rising sect, he felt increasingly powerless. Under the leadership of Miao Chufang, we walked into the Chongshan Hall. "Teacher, please come again. This disciple is ordered to bring the guests from the Ime section." Arriving in front of Su Junming's seat, Miao Chufang said respectfully. But after hearing her words, Tian Meng and Bai Mei's expressions did change. After nodding to her, Su Junming waved his sleeves, and clouds rose from the ground in the hall, and soon 3 cloud beds floated up. "You 3, please take a seat." "Thank you, fellow Taoist Su." After the ceremony, Tian Meng sat in the first place, Bai Mei sat in the second place, and Qi Shuming sat in the last place. Miao Chufang held the disciple ceremony and came to stand on the left side of Su Junming. "You 3, I am from Chongshan Academy." "I don't know what happened," Su Junming said calmly. But 10 years ago, fellow Taoist Su personally promised in Kangmang Mountain that he would return the Ime town sect's treasure, the Purple Ying sword, in 10 years. "This is why the old monk came here," Tian Meng said. "That's it? I thought this was a private matter between the Chongshan and Ime factions, but I didn't expect that the head of Qi would invite the 2 of you to escort me." "Don't worry, Su Junming, as the leader of a faction, will never tell lies." With a wave of his hand, a stream of purple light flew towards Qi Shuming. The latter quickly caught it, and a 3-foot 9-inch Forsythia sword appeared in his palm. Qi Shuming is no stranger to the Purple Ying sword, the treasure of his sect, and can distinguish the true from the false with a little spiritual awareness. "It's a real sword." After the divine consciousness communicated with Tianmeng and Beimei, they felt relieved. Although they believed that Su Junming, as the dean of Chongshan Academy, had preached for many years and had an outstanding reputation in the spiritual world, he would not do anything that would violate his promise. But anything is possible. Fortunately, there were no surprises after all. But Taoist friend Su is indeed a believer," Tian Meng said in awe. "Su always keeps his word." After a pause, "Now that the sword has been returned, if the 3 of you have nothing else to do, I have other things to do, so I can't accompany you." Although the 2 sides could not be called enemies, they were not conspiring against each other, and he did not want to gossip with Tianmeng Beimei and Qi Shuming here. "Senior, please stay. Qi Shuming has something else to do." Turning to look at him. Senior has been preaching for many years and has shown the way forward for countless cultivators and hereditary sections. His merits are profound. The Chongshan lineage punishes rape and eradicates evil and protects the safety of one party, which is even more admirable. As the saying goes, when 3 people walk together, there must be my teacher. Our Ime sect would like to ask Chongshan people for advice. Su Junming smiled faintly and said, "I wonder what kind of method it is to ask for advice. 9 years later, you and I will have a sword fight at Yuzha Peak in Zongnan Mountain." As soon as these words came out, Su Junming's eyes suddenly became sharp, and a tyrannical pressure swept across the entire audience. Even with Tianmeng's cultivation, he felt his heart sink instantly. As for Qi Shuming, his expression suddenly changed. The originally plain figure seemed to have suddenly turned into an ancient beast that swallowed the sky and the earth. A powerful pressure made him unable to help but feel fear. Amitabha. Along with the loud Buddha's name, the vast Buddha's light soared into the sky. Zen Master Tianmeng put his palms together. Fellow Taoist Su, please do not misunderstand. Master Chi's intention is for the two factions to compete with each other, not for a sword fight. Regardless of victory or defeat, the harmony between the two factions will not be harmed. Qi Shuming nodded quickly. We, Yimei and Chongshan, are both well-known and upright sections. When we compete with swordsmen, we only learn from each other and confirm what we have learned. The purpose is to get closer to the Taoism, not to win by killing. Really? It seems that I misunderstood. After Su Junming finished speaking calmly, his aura slowly subsided, and his sharp eyes gradually calmed down. If it's just two factions competing, that's fine. I just don't know how Master Qi plans to compete. Of course 3 generations of disciples from the two sects teach each other skills, Qi Shuming said. A 3rd generation disciple. Exactly. Su Junming was not stupid, so he naturally heard what he meant. So Master Qi will also appear. My Grandmaster Yimei Dayuan, Grandmaster Quosanzi and Grandmaster Lianshan are the 1st generation, Master Chenmei, Uncle Shuijingzi, and Uncle Yijin are the 2nd generation, and the juniors are the 3rd generation. Su Junming nodded. Qi Shuming's words are true, but the founder of the Yimei sect is Ren Xiao, the real person with Chenmei. Based on this, he can only be regarded as a 2nd generation disciple. However, the 2nd generation disciples of Chongshan sect have all become immortals, and in the past 20 years they have become famous in the world of cultivation. No matter how confident Qi Shuming was, he didn't think that the Yimei people could be their opponents. Moreover, the reason why he wanted to compete with swords was to attack the power of the Chongshan lineage and improve Yimei's status in the spiritual world. Otherwise, if the Chongshan lineage is allowed to develop like this, their prestige will overwhelm Yimei before the great catastrophe of the immortals. At that time, how can we talk about leadership and social ethics and leading the catastrophe? Amitabha, Yimei, and Chongshan are both famous sects in the practice world. They compete with each other to confirm what they have learned and help each other. This is a grand event in the practice world, Monk Beimei said. After Su Junming thought about it for a while, he nodded slightly. Since Master Qi wants the two factions to have a sword fight, then I agree. We will meet at Tianzi Peak of Zongnan Mountain in 9 years. Qi Shuming stood up and bowed. Thank you, Senior Yuchen. Is there anything else? Qi Shuming shook his head. The most important thing this time is to retrieve the Ziying sword and get the promise of the sword competition between the two factions. Now it has been completed. Tianmeng and Bai Mei just escorted him and had nothing else to do. Safflower. The disciple is here. Miao Chufang responded. You can see off the guests for me. Yes, disciple, I obey. Su Junming nodded and turned his head. Two fellow Taoists, we are both in charge. I have other important matters, so I won't be with you much longer. Amitabha, it is up to the true person to do as he pleases. After Su Junming nodded, his figure disappeared instantly. Two seniors, fellow Taoist Qi, please come with me. Zen Master Tianmeng took one last look at the direction in which Su Junming disappeared, and then left the Chongshan Hall under the leadership of the Red Flower Virgin Miao Chufang. After getting off the Rainbow Bridge, the white-browed monk frowned slightly and subconsciously looked to the left. After a moment of hesitation, fellow Taoist Miao, where is your sect? Miao Chufang looked at the place pointed by the white-browed monk, which was the Qingyun Peak where the high-level inner disciples of Chongshan Cave Heaven lived. Master, please forgive me. It is a secret of our sect and Hung Hua cannot disclose it. The white-browed monk frowned. Although he felt a little unhappy, it was not easy to get angry. After all, people said, this is a sect secret. but the vague attraction just now made him unforgettable. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 623. After leaving Chongshan Cave Heaven, we came to the gate of Chongshan Academy. 2 masters, fellow Taoist Chi, I will send them here. You 3 should go slowly. Thank you, fellow Taoist, for seeing me off. Please go slowly. Miao Chufang nodded with a smile, then turned and disappeared around the corner. Let's go too. The 3 of them exchanged glances with each other, activated their magic power, and their figures disappeared instantly. It wasn't until thousands of miles away from Chang'an City that he landed on the top of a mountain peak. Qi Shuming took out the Ziying sword. Zen Master, please take a look. Tianmeng took it, held the Ziying sword in both hands, soaked it with his spiritual consciousness, and after silently observing it for a while, handed it back to Qi Shuming. It is indeed the purple Yang sword, and no hidden tricks were found in it. After he finished speaking, there was a trace of hesitation on his face. Zen Master, is there something wrong? Tianmeng sighed, Su Junming's magic power has become stronger. The 2 of them trembled in their hearts. Why did the Zen Master say that? Bai Mei asked in a deep voice. Did you know that what we just saw was the incarnation of Su Junming? Incarnation? How is this possible? Bai Mei said in disbelief. After all, he is also a master who has reached the peak of Arhat cultivation, and is proficient in the 6 magical powers of Buddhism, but he didn't see through Su Junming's true identity. Although he couldn't believe it, he believed that Tianmeng was a man who would not act without aim. I didn't notice it at first. It wasn't until that breath leaked that I saw the clues. Bai Mei and Qi Shuming recalled the only confrontation between them when they met before. The aura of each incarnation is not weaker than mine. It can be seen that Su Junming's cultivation must have become a true immortal. Obviously, after not seeing each other for 10 years, he has already passed through the tribulation of the true immortal. Tianmeng sighed and continued, the true monarch of Chongshan, Su Junming, is indeed a genius. For thousands of years, only the Chenmei master Ren Shao and Zen master Zunchen can compare with him, and the old monk has also ashamed. The concentration of spiritual energy in the Shushan world is far less than that of the Lingkong immortal world. Anyone who can achieve true immortality in this world is a genius with extraordinary talent, perseverance, character, and understanding. When Bai Mei and Qi Shuming heard this, their hearts instantly became several times heavier. Su Junming is the headmaster of Chongshan Academy and the pillar of the Chongshan lineage. The higher his cultivation level, the stronger the foundation of the Chongshan lineage. It is also becoming more and more difficult to shake. One sentence made the atmosphere much more depressing. After a long time. Zen Master, the situation in the Chongshan line is very difficult to control. For future planning, we should go to see Zen Master Zunchen immediately and ask him to take charge of the overall situation. Otherwise, if the Chongshan line is allowed to develop, our earlier plans will most likely come to nothing. Bai Mei said in a condensed voice. Tianmeng nodded and turned his eyes. Master Qi, has there been no news from your master yet? Qi Shuming shook his head. Master is in seclusion. He will probably not leave seclusion until he breaks through to the Xianxian. Where are your 2 masters? No contact. In fact, although Genren Dayuan and Chuo Sanza were the ancestors of Imei, the younger disciples such as Qi Shuming did not have a deep impression of them. The 2 worlds are separated from each other and there are not many connections between them. Qi Shuming didn't expect them to provide any help to Imei in the lower realm. Tianmeng frowned and didn't ask any more questions. Bai Mei, I was in Chongshan Cave just now. I saw that you seemed to be hesitant, but what did you find? The white-browed monk did not hide anything. The Zen Master's Dharma eyes are correct. Just after I came out of the Chongshan Hall, I vaguely felt that there seemed to be something in the mountain on the left that was destined to me, but it seemed like there was no destiny, so I stopped and asked. As a result, Miao Chufang was heartbroken. I was estranged and didn't tell me. That's it? It's a pity that the secrets of this world are chaotic, otherwise we can deduce it. There was a pause. Well, although there are some changes in the strip, fortunately everything is still satisfactory. Turned. Master Qi, go back quickly and prepare for the sword showdown. You must suppress the third generation of Chongshan and curb the reputation of the Chongshan lineage. Don't worry, Zen Master. After I return, I will use the magical treasures and elixirs sealed by my mentor. In 9 years, my Ime strength will definitely reach a higher level. Tianmen nodded and said, Bai Mei, come with me to Tianese. Zen Master Bai Mei was moved in his heart and nodded. Obviously, the Chongshan lineage, especially the tyranny of Su Junming, made him aware of the threat and asked the Buddhist leader in the world, Zen Master Zunchen, for help. Behind the Chongshan Hall is a bamboo forest. In the deep bamboo forest, there are small bridges and flowing water, and a bamboo building is surrounded by colorful flowers. This small courtyard, which is similar to Chongshan residence, is Su Junming's residence in Chongshan Chang'an Cave. Master, Tianmeng Beimei and Qi Shuming have left, Miao Chufang said respectfully. Su Junming nodded slightly and looked at his beloved disciple. It seems that you have stabilized your realm and have completely achieved the status of Earth Immortal. Thanks to the Huangdan given by Master, otherwise this disciple would not have been able to get out of seclusion so quickly. After hesitating for a moment, he said, Master, Qi Shuming's so-called sword show was obviously prepared and took the opportunity to suppress the reputation of my Chongshan lineage in the practice world. Why did you still agree to him? If you don't agree and spread the word, wouldn't it make people think that Chongshan Academy is afraid of Ime? He glanced at Miao Chufang and said, don't take this sword duel too seriously. Let's not mention that we may not lose. So what if we lose? Success or failure is doomed for a moment and cannot change the prosperity of our Chongshan Academy. As long as we strengthen our beliefs and practice hard, Ime is destined to be just a stumbling block on the road to our rise, and will not become a peak that blocks our upward progress. He smiled lightly and looked confident. Our Chongshan Academy is a large sect spanning 3 worlds, not comparable to Ime. Miao Chufang was shocked. She almost forgot about the extraordinary strength of her sect. What my teacher said is true. The outcome of a sword duel cannot affect the rise of our Chongshan lineage. It's good that you understand. However, having said that, we still try our best to win this sword duel. Yes, after the disciple returns, he will call Hong Ying, Yuniang and Ying back to practice in seclusion. Su Junming nodded and spread his left palm. Several jade bottles flew towards Miao Chufang. These are the 5 yellow pills, 7 yellow pills and 9 yellow pills that I refined. Take them back and give them to the 3 of them. Miao Chufang, who has known her mentor's ability in refining elixirs and weapons since she became a disciple, did not refuse. After taking it, disciple took them to thank their mentor for the medicine. He waved his hand. As long as the 3 little guys practice well, it is the best reward for me. Miao Chufang nodded and was about to say goodbye when she was stopped by Su Junming. With a pat of the bag on his waist, a jade box flew towards Miao Chufang. Open it and take a look. Out of curiosity, he removed the sealing talisman, and instantly a strong Taoian spiritual energy overflowed. With a move in my heart, after opening the jade box, a spiritual root shaped like a rose, silvery white in color, and red in color appeared in front of my eyes. Taoian Han Jade Spirit Flower. Miao Chufang blurted out. This is the immortal root she obtained in her previous life, and her memory is too profound. Master, this. Return it to its original owner. You need this immortal root most to practice the Tao of Taoian. Take it back and plant it in your portable cave. It will not only increase the concentration of Taiyan spiritual energy in the cave, but also increase the strength of the world protecting formation. Kill two birds with one stone. As for me, you don't have to worry. I have already used the aura of creation to cultivate another one. After hearing this, Miao Chufang couldn't say any more words of rejection. After taking a deep breath to calm down his excitement, his tone was filled with deep gratitude. Disciple, thank you for giving me this treasure. Practice well and don't live up to my expectations. Yes. Okay, go back if you have nothing to do. Miao Chufang nodded. Disciple resigns. Looking at her leaving figure, Su Junming had a faint smile on his face. To him, the Taiyan coal jade spirit flower is just a middle-grade fairy root. Apart from its flowers and leaves, which can be used to refine elixirs and weapons, it has no other uses. But for Miao Chufang, it has special meaning. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 624. The clone is not the Dharma body. Everything the clone experiences will be fed back to the original body immediately. Therefore, Su Junming, who is far away in the core of the Earth's axis, also knows what happened in Chang'an Cave in Chongshan. Sword contest after 9 years. I want to see how many capable people Imei can bring out. If Qi Shuming and Shuxing Taochuo were alone, they would not be able to match the 3 generations of disciples of the Chongshan lineage. Not to mention anything else, among the earthly immortals alone, there are already 5 third-generation disciples of Chongshan in the Shushan world: Gongsun Juniang, Ning Keichan, Zhuge Liuyun, Fu Qingfeng, and Deng Baguo. At the Yuan Shen level, there are Gu Yu, Fu Yueqi, Gu Hong, Huo Wuhei, and Xie Hongying. Except for Xie Hongying, who has just entered Yuan Shen, the other 4 are all in the late or peak stages of Yuan Shen, and are close to breaking through to the Earth Immortal. Especially Fu Yueqi and Huo Wuvuo, it is estimated that they will be able to break through in less than 9 years. On the other hand, looking at Imei, except for Qi Shuming, Su Xin Tu Tuo, Sun Lanyan, Dragon-slaying Master Tai, Dwarf Zhu Mei, Soul Chaser Bai Gai, and Jian Bingru, who have the hope of becoming earthly immortals, the remaining so-called Luofu 7 immortals, at best, it's the soul. Su Junming did not believe that the disciples he had trained so hard would lose to them. There were still 9 years left to consider, so he didn't put much thought into it. He looked at the giant ball that had turned into a 10-foot-long ball in front of him, blooming with indigo divine light, and filled with the magnetic energy of the North Pole. After 10 years of sacrificial training, the fire is enough. After thinking about it, he reached out and pointed. In an instant, the vast Arctic UN magnetic essence soared into the sky, and restrictions constructed from countless eclipses emerged from the sphere like layers of nets. The powerful aura instantly stirred up thunder and calamity. Even though this place is located deep in the earth, next to the core of the earth, it cannot be isolated from the test of the thunder of heaven and earth. Thunder tribulation is a test of the great Dao, and all sentient beings in heaven and earth cannot avoid it. Boom, the vast thunder struck down. The tyrannical thunderstorm, 10 years later, resounded deep in the heart of the earth again. 10 years have passed, and Su Junming's ability in refining treasures has improved a lot. Refining high-grade immortal weapons is no longer difficult for him. What's more, this Shaojia Yuan magnetic divine ball was originally a low-grade immortal weapon. Now, after 10 years of training, it has only advanced from low-grade to mid-grade. With Su Junming's ability to refine weapons, as long as there are enough materials, it's a piece of cake. A heavy thunderstorm descended, and after the 45 thunderbolts passed, an extremely thick innate Taishi's fundamental energy of creation descended. After receiving this powerful tonic, Shaojia's primordial magnetic divine ball instantly shone brightly, and the ball, which was originally only 10 feet long, quickly expanded. Almost in the blink of an eye, it exceeded 1,000 feet. A few moments passed, and the huge sphere quickly shrank inward again. Soon it turned into a ball of light that was only the size of a watermelon, completely navy blue, flickering with thousands of rays of light, and filled with mist, as if containing infinite mystery, and fell into the palm of my hand. His spiritual consciousness was immersed, and he felt the fourth immortal forbidden realm derived from it, and he couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. The power of the Shayagia primordial magnetic divine ball was dozens of times more powerful than before, as the low-grade one was upgraded to the middle-grade one. Barely enough. After refining the treasure, he did not leave immediately. After all, in addition to refining treasures, he was also refining his body. With the help of the high-temperature and high-pressure environment in the core of the earth, as well as the sufficient nutrition provided by the Great Witch's essence and blood, his physical body improved rapidly. 5 more years later, Su Junming slowly opened his eyes. The 2 rays of cold electricity were like searchlights in the dark night. Even the extremely rich earth magnetism beside them could not obscure its light. Open your mouth and spit out slowly, although it is just waste gas. The surrounding ground, which was almost condensed into liquid, was too hot, like the ocean after a hurricane passed by, and the waves were suddenly turbulent. Opening his palms, the skin and flesh showed no trace of damage except for some redness under the scorching fire. With a sudden grip, thunder exploded in a silent place. At the same time, a fierce burst of energy and blood caused the Taiwo within 10 feet around him to be instantly rushed away. The Taiwo that rushed backward hit Su Junming hard with even greater power. A heavy amount of dark energy, with the heat of melting gold and turning iron, tested his body. As solid and steady as an ancient rock, the impact of Taiwo became smaller and smaller, and finally disappeared without a trace. Silently channeling his magic power and balancing his energy and blood, all the shocking appearances gradually calmed down. The middle-ranking military commander has reached his peak. Entering Chongshan residence with his spiritual consciousness, Su Junming looked at the Great Witch essence and blood in the independent storage room, which was as vast as the sun. Su Junming felt grateful to Lord Huosang, his former opponent. He has cultivated to the current state, but only consumed 1/1000th of this drop of essence and blood of the Great Witch. Some of them were given to Qin Zhong and his 2 disciples. If it were all consumed, Su Junming could not imagine what level his physical body could reach. In the beginning, if it hadn't been for the Great Witch's head, which concealed the aura of the Great Witch's essence and blood, this treasure would not have fallen into his hands. It's all a coincidence. The higher the middle-ranked general is, the higher-ranked general will be. Su Junming was excited. The middle-ranked military commander could compete with the Xianxian at his peak. If he advanced to the upper-level military commander, he could compete with the Golden Immortal. At that time, you can plan to go to the Lingkong Immortal Realm. After withdrawing his consciousness and calming down his energy and blood, he looked at the giant ball that turned into a 1,000-foot ball in front of him. It was the Shayagia divine ball that had been absorbing the North Pole magnet for the past 5 years. 5 years, although the treasure's foundation was once again thickened, was not enough to refine the 5th immortal forbidden realm. With a finger, the giant ball shrank instantly and sank into Su Junming's body. It's time to leave too. With my mind set, I raised my escape light, bypassed the vast and powerful geomagnetic core in the distance, and came to the other side of it. The geomagnetic core, which is thousands of miles in diameter, emits the powerful Antarctic magnetic energy here. It is silvery white in color and positive in number. Feel the vastness of the sea and the boundless Antarctic magnetism. Su Junming took a deep breath. Try how powerful this baby is. Spreading his left hand, Shayagia Yuan Si divine ball flew out. After the blockade of the Sankei divine gate was removed, in an instant, an unimaginable force of repulsion, like a mad cow, rushed over along the Shayagia primordial magnetic divine ball. Su Junming didn't resist either. Letting this powerful repulsive force push him, he turned into a meteor and disappeared into the geomagnetic core in the blink of an eye. Along the Earth's axis, Su Junming quickly penetrated the Earth's fire magma and reached the edge of the bottom crust with the help of the powerful Antarctic elemental magnetism. At this point, the power of Antarctic magnetism is still strong, but Su Junming does not want to be a drill bit and compete with the extremely hard bottom rock. This is so silly. He put away the Shayagia primordial magnetic divine ball, activated the celestial elephant divine gate, and the figure disappeared instantly. The Antarctic is similar to the North Pole in that it is a silver-white world covered with ice and snow and covered with cold wind. But compared to the Arctic, there are many scattered islands here. The so-called 72 islands are representatives of them. The Antarctic area is vast, and of course there are more than 72 islands. It's just that these 72 islands have rich spiritual energy and are stationed by monks. If you really count, there are tens of thousands of islands of various sizes here. Above the Antarctic, in the cloudless sky, a space passage suddenly appeared, and Su Junming's figure walked out of it. Looking at the thousands of miles of waves below and the azure cloudless sky in the distance, my heart instantly felt enlightened. Most of the depression from 15 years of cultivating underground has also dissipated. Move the bronze mirror, and the scenery in front of you gradually changes. Where there was once an empty space, a giant mountain measuring hundreds of thousands of feet and covering an area of millions of acres appeared. This huge mountain is connected to the core of the earth and supports the 9 heavens. The surrounding area is extremely dense with underground fire. Although it cannot be called a suspect, it is still an area that is easily difficult to enter. Looking at the almost liquefied spiritual energy inside, Su Junming said to himself, "It is indeed a sacred mountain outside the sky." With such a rich spiritual energy, it is no wonder that it was selected as one of the 3 major villas in Ime, specifically for Qi Jinshan and Qi Di to do the dojo. He activated the Danshan Huishan magic talisman, took a step forward, and relied on his magical power of space to instantly cross the blockade of Taiwo underground. The scenery in front of me changed drastically. The sea that was once covered with ice suddenly became as warm as spring. In the undulating waves, giant whales, sharks and other sea beasts loom. In the vast ocean water that is thousands of miles wide, a huge mountain with a height of more than 100,000 feet is like a giant sword protruding from the bottom of the sea, thrusting straight into the blue sky. He reached out and grabbed it, and the rich spiritual energy instantly gathered in his palm. After a short time, a trace of light cyan aura appeared in front of his eyes. Innate Taishi spiritual energy. This kind of qi is called immortal qi in the Shushan world. I want to see what kind of mystery is hidden here. He activated the escape light and flew straight towards the distant sacred mountain. Because this sacred mountain is located in Antarctica, it is bright all year round, and there is no distinction between Shanyan and Shanyang. But there are holy places on both sides of this mountain. One is called Little Light Realm and the other is Sleepless City. Qiankong, the Lord of Nightless City, is the Lord of the earthly immortals and is very powerful. The master of the Little Light Realm is the monster Wanzai Hanhao, who has 6 heads and 9 bodies and has been practicing for 10,000 years. In addition to this fairy and one monster, there are many other monsters who have successfully practiced in such a rich aura environment, but none of them can compare with them. Su Junming followed the direction of the rich spiritual energy. After a short time, the scenery inside the giant mountain came into view. But I saw the green mountains of Dede, and thousands of white clouds flying around the cliffs. Strange peaks and rocks are endless as far as the eye can see, waterfalls and springs are flowing with roaring sounds. Suddenly, birds and geese fly, in an instant, animals take pictures. It's really a fairy mountain and holy water. While Su Junming was browsing, the light kept disappearing, and soon he came to the top of a valley. As far as the eye can see, this valley is extremely vast. Inside, there are jade trees, yao grass, and all kinds of exotic flowers growing like a forest. Among the splendid flowers and plants, there are pavilions and pavilions dotted here and there, surrounded by wisps of clouds and mist, and the Tao Dao Rui makeup is one. What a great place to practice Tao, Su Junming admired in his heart. Whether it was the aura or the scenery, this was the only place he had ever seen. He urged the escape light to fall, stepped on a piece of warm jade, raised his head and looked forward. A tall jade archway comes into view. There is a column of etched inscriptions on the jade pillars on both sides of the archway. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 625. The sun and the moon shine together, and the universe comes together. Su Junming stared for a moment, then looked across the archway and looked inside. With the help of the bronze mirror, you can clearly see that a thick and tough light mask envelops the entire valley. Obviously, this is a formation. Su Junming stepped forward, looked at it for a moment, smiled faintly, waved his sleeves, a black hole appeared, and his figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, the archway had disappeared, and there was a magnificent scenery in front of him. Starting from the feet, there is a jade path that looks like jade but not jade, and is 12 feet wide. On both sides are 7 or 8 people hugging each other, 20 or 30 feet tall green trees, with trunks, stems, branches, and heavy branches and leaves. What's strange is that the trees are covered with all kinds of exotic flowers, some are as big as silver basins, and some are as small as teacups, red like fire, white like snow, layer upon layer, very beautiful. A breeze blows by, and the flowers and leaves are fluttering along with it. It looks like a canopy supporting the sky. The flowers are like rain, colorful, flying slowly, and seem to be unable to fall. When the flowers and leaves touch each other, they make a sonorous sound, like the music played by officials and businessmen. It is a pure and unique sound of its own. Su Junming took a gentle sniff, and the light but intoxicating floral fragrance penetrated into his heart. It's also a spiritual seed. One step is 100 steps away. In just a moment, they passed through several flower forests. The next moment, a green peak about 100 feet long appeared in front of me. I took a brief look at it, and after walking around along the jade path, I suddenly heard the sound of shengs and reeds playing, and the tinkling of harps and harps. When I looked over, I saw a large stream running across it, about 10 feet wide. The water was very clear and deep, and the bottom was covered with large and small gems. There are 3 jasper flying bridges sitting on it, like a rainbow, lying on the water. There are no pillars under the bridge, and the whole bridge looks like it is carved from a single piece of jasper. Scattered up and down, there are many jade bamboo shoots standing, green and crystal clear, ranging from several feet above the water. There is also a kind of 5-color moss growing on it, which is as big as money. Looking from a distance, it looks like there are countless strange flowers overlapping and sticking to the jade bamboo shoots. The jade bamboo shoots have many pores all over their bodies, which are exquisite and clear. The feng shui interacts with each other and creates a quiet sound. The sound that Su Junming heard just now came from this. Normally, Su Junming would not have bothered to spend time admiring this man-made beauty. But now, after 15 years of seclusion in the geomagnetic core of high temperature and pressure, he also needs to relax his tense mind. This Tianhui sacred mountain is one of the purposes of his trip. The scenery is rare and stunning, and it is a good place to visit. Cross the jade bridge in the middle. The flowers, trees, and jade path in front of them were shrouded in a layer of colorful smoke, blocking the way. At the same time, a faint fishy smell spread out. What a powerful evil spirit! He has experienced 3 worlds and has seen many demons, but not many of them have the intensity of demonic aura that can compare with this one. No wonder he can occupy the little light realm. This demonic energy has the same warning effect as Longxian's alchemy energy. However, in front of Su Junming's wonderful spatial magical power, everything is false. After passing through the blockade of smoke, 3 archways that were 10 feet high appeared in front of them, as if they were carved from crystal. In the middle, on the tallest archway, the 3-character divine pattern of lighting realm shines brightly. After examining it for a moment, Su Junming stepped through, and a magnificent palace with glittering golden light appeared in the distance. This hall is more than 10 feet high and 30 feet wide. It looks like it is made of fine jade. On the plaque above the palace door, the 3 words "Floating Smoke Palace" are clearly legible. From the jade path on the left, you bypass the main hall in the middle and arrive at the rear. A jade platform that is 10 feet high and covers an area of 400 to 500 acres comes into view. Around the jade platform, there are golden courtyards, jade pillars, and emerald sills on Yao steps. They are filled with pearls, dazzling and Valyrian, and are extremely gorgeous. There are jade peaks and mountains on 3 sides of the jade platform. There are no less than 200 of them, arranged far and near. They are like jade hairpins inserted into the ground, cloud bones holding up the sky, and sloping walls and towers, covering each other. Opposite is another lake, the waves are as clear as a mirror, and it is very clear and deep. Because the ground is as clear as crystal jade, and the clear waves are only a few feet away from the shore, at a glance, it is almost impossible to tell whether it is water or land. There is a lotus flower growing beside the lake shore. Each branch is about 2 feet thick. It is more than 10 feet long and divided into 3, 4, or 5 sections. The color is whiter than jade, and it looks extremely smooth and tender, almost ready to break. Each node has a lotus leaf or a lotus flower. The leaf stem is as thick as a human arm, about 10 feet long, and the leaves are 6 or 7 feet in diameter. The flowers are divided into 4 colors, pink, red, green and white. When in full bloom, they are about half of the green leaves. Some have buds about to bloom, as big as melons, with green leaves and golden stems as a foil, like a white jade boat with 2 or 3 precious pillars and green covers. There is an ancient poem saying, "The flowers bloom 10 feet tall and the lotus roots are as big as boats." It must be referring to this scene. It is really intoxicating. It's just that there are not many lotus roots, there are only more than 20 lotus roots in total. There are also few lotus seeds, and only a white lotus in the middle appears in the lotus room. It is surrounded by a coral vermilion fence with a height of more than 10 feet, and there is a pink smoke on it, showing an evil atmosphere. Su Junming looked at it with joy in his eyes. He likes to collect all kinds of spiritual roots. The Yaokai Jade Lotus from Xiaoguangming realm of Tianhui Divine Mountain is the most famous immortal root spiritual species in the world of Shushan. If you have the opportunity, of course you can't let it go. Looking at the quality of the Jade Lotus, it is at least a top-grade immortal root. Moreover, the lotus root contains innate wood spiritual energy, and the lotus seed contains the 9-day pure energy. It is the first choice for refining the qi-enhancing spiritual pill. Now I have the main ingredient for my Daihuang Dan. In addition to the lotus, there is also a white jade platform in the center of the lake, about 10 feet high. It is built from a single piece of jade. The jade is of excellent quality and is as bright as a mirror. It covers an area of 2 acres and is particularly magnificent. On such an empty table, only in the center was an oval-shaped treasure couch, on which lay a naked woman covered in gauze, very beautiful, with a hint of spring in the corners of her eyes and eyebrows. At this time, she was holding a golden mirror in her jade hand, looking into the mirror and looking forward to herself. The woman looked at her jade-armed servant girl twice, looking at her with self-pity and tenderness. Suddenly she raised her beautiful eyebrows, as if she felt a little bored, so she opened her mouth slightly and said a few words in a sweet voice, but she didn't know what to say. On the peaks opposite the platform, there were several strange rowers, and correspondingly, no one came down. After half a cup of tea, The woman seemed impatient, with a ferocious smile on her face, a pair of charming eyes suddenly gleaming fiercely, and she no longer called out in a soft voice. As soon as he opened his mouth and sprayed out, a stream of five-color smoke as thin as a hairspring shot out and disappeared in a flash. Then I heard a whistling sound on several peaks, and then hundreds of lights of various colors flew towards me, surrounded by a group of strange-looking men. Some are dressed in feathers and star crowns, and are handsome, as if they were among the gods. Some have ancient looks and gorgeous robes, like monastics from other sects. Some wear short clothes and carry swords, and look like ghosts, weird. When they arrived in front of the stage, they all fell to the audience, their faces ashen as death, and their expressions were miserable. The strangest thing is that this group of men seem to have high magical powers and have a ferocious aura. They are obviously not good people. But when they see this naked woman, most likely they will have a sad look on their face, standing quietly on both sides, without saying a word, looking very respectful. The naked woman seemed not to notice the abnormality of everyone. She leaned on the golden couch with her delicate body, holding onto the railings of the couch, with a very lazy expression, stretched out, and leaned forward to get up. The people standing by, old and young, rushed over immediately and knelt on the ground. There were two Taoist boys in the middle, who were kneeling in front of the couch. The naked woman had slowly sat up, stretched out her pink legs, and stepped on the head of one of the Taoist boys with her tender and white left foot. The Taoist boy seemed flattered. His face immediately changed drastically. The naked woman frowned slightly, opened her mouth and blew out a pink breath that was as blue as a musk deer. The Taoist boy's expression suddenly changed, he laughed strangely, and rushed forward. What happened next was even more exciting than the action movie from a certain country that Su Junming had watched in his previous life. However, within half an hour, the Taoist boy's complexion turned black and he fell to the ground. The naked woman opened her mouth and spit out a stream of green energy. The rolling mist was just a wisp at first, but as soon as it left the woman's cherry mouth, it spread all over the sky. The naked woman rolled in the mist and instantly transformed into a grotesque monster. It has a body like a snail, with 6 heads, 9 bodies, and 48 legs. The head is in a ruyi shape, with the 2 largest heads, a long head and neck, and many legs. A flat mouth, like a basin of blood, without teeth. The whole body is dozens of feet long. Except for 2 of the 3 bodies, which are entangled on the treasure couch, the rest are scattered on the ground. It takes up almost half of the jade platform. The black-faced Taoist boy had been sucked to his mouth by it, surrounded by 6 heads, and was about to swallow it. A clear voice suddenly sounded on the lake. At first, that part was a bit interesting, but now you look so ugly, it's really off-putting. Wanzai Hanhao stopped, and after throwing away the Taoist boy, his 6 heads suddenly turned around. Who? The ferocious voice is terrifying. A powerful demonic aura rose into the sky. The faces of the monks who were originally standing on the edge of the jade platform changed drastically, and they flew away one after another, for fear of being harmed. Call. A powerful force of swallowing was born out of thin air, and all the surrounding demonic energy was taken away in an instant. Wanzai Hanhao once again transformed into the female body he had been in the beginning. When he looked around, his face instantly became ugly. The Yaokai jade lotus that she regarded as a treasure has all disappeared. An uncontrollable rage rose from the bottom of his heart. It is an evil beast born from the evil energy of heaven and earth. Although it has been practicing for thousands of years, its magic power is strong and its physical body is as strong as an earthly immortal. However, it has not survived the heavenly tribulation and has not yet become an immortal. It still has the heart of a beast and the nature of a beast. You broke into my fairyland and stole my spiritual roots. You deserve to be damned. He opened his mouth and sprayed, and in an instant, an extremely powerful stream of light, as fast as lightning, hit Su Junming. The angry Wanzai Hanhao actually used his killing move from the beginning. Su Junming's heart moved. A silver-white divine door flew out from above his head, and a silver light spread out. When the two collided, there was no earth-shattering noise, nor was there any brilliance. The flowing light of 10,000 years of Hanhao seemed to be stuck in a quagmire and became motionless for an instant. The light faded away, leaving only a colorful bead as big as the mouth of a bowl, which was taken away by the silver divine door. My inner elixir. With a cry of surprise, Wanzai Hanhao's aura instantly became weak. Although it is fierce, it is not stupid. His own inner elixir could not be resisted by the earthly immortal, but this green-robed Taoist could easily take it away. It was obvious that his magical power was far superior to it. His bestial nature exploded, and he turned around and ran away without hesitation. Escape, if I let you escape, all my years of cultivation will be in vain. With a finger, a black copper bell appeared from mid-air. With a dong sound, the bell was not loud but very penetrating, and it flew forward in an instant. Anyone who is enveloped by the sound of this bell will have 3 souls far away, 7 souls wandering, and they will be exhausted on the ground. Monsters like 10,000 years Hanhao, who have practiced for thousands of years and used their bodies and vast magic power to win, have their weakest point, which is their soul. Therefore, Su Junming's soul-falling bell magical power is absolutely invincible. With a boom, the huge Wanzai Hanhao fell into the lake. After looking at the inner elixir in his palm, although he could refine a good immortal weapon, Su Junming didn't want to do it. With a wave of his hand, the inner elixir flew into Wanzai Hangsuan's body again. The Ksitagarbha divine sect burst out with tyrannical swallowing power, and whether it was Wanzai Hanhao or the prisoners he detained, they were all taken in. Although beheading can be done once and for all, it is not the optimal solution. It is the right way to hand them over to Ao Tian and contribute to the improvement of Chongshan world for a long time. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 626. He stretched out his hand and a little starlight flew from below the jade platform. After the light faded, a little girl about 3 or 4 years old with pink makeup came into view. Can't you see that this 10,000-year-old earthworm is still a demon and Taoist fellow practitioner? This little girl with pink makeup and jade is not a human being, but the nascent soul of 10,000 years Hanhao, which is the result of her practicing Suanmen Taoism. However, Wanzai Hanhao has not been practicing Taoism skills for long, and this Yuanying has not yet become a Yuan Shen. Otherwise, if he waits for another 100 years, he might actually be able to achieve immortality with the help of the abundant spiritual energy here. When the time comes, the demon body will be trained into the Dharma body, and these 10,000 years of coldness will really become a climate. It's a pity that Imekide would kill it even if he didn't meet him. The bad fate accumulated over the years, coupled with the sin of carrying a jade, destined it to be impossible to achieve enlightenment. Speaking of which, Qiankang, the owner of the Evernight City, was smarter. He sent his son directly to Ime, which not only chose a good future for his son, but also gave him a big leg. With this background, no one dares to take advantage of him. It's a pity that Wanzai Hanhao doesn't have such wisdom after all. Su Junming didn't like a nascent soul that was condensed with Taiyan's cold energy. He threw it away and let it sink into the body of Wanzai Hanhao. With a movement in his heart, the human soul divine gate flew out of the body, black light enveloped Wanzai Hanhao, and a bit of starlight flew out of its body and disappeared into the divine gate. With the 3 souls and 7 souls of Wanzai Hanhao, its memories of the past 10,000 years are all presented to Su Junming one by one. In the beginning, Wanzai Hanhao was just an ordinary snail living in this lotus pond in the light realm. His consciousness was weak and his memory was fragmented. He only had the impression of seeing an immortal in white robes, always sitting on the oval jade platform in the middle. Be dissolute, drunk and singing. After experiencing this countless times, It occasionally spilled the wine when the immortal was drinking, fell into the pool, diluted some of the wine, and fell into a coma for a long time. When he woke up again, his body was several times larger and his consciousness was much clearer. It finally caught the attention of the white-robed immortal. It only remembered that the other party smiled at it and then said something. "It's rare that you have the opportunity to open up your spiritual wisdom, so I'll give you some luck." After saying that, the other party flicked his finger, and a bit of spiritual light flew into the sea of consciousness. In an instant, countless words and patterns were planted deep in his heart. It has never learned those words, but somehow understands their meaning. After practicing it for a period of time, it felt that its body was getting stronger and bigger. Just when it was condensing the demon elixir in its body, the white-robed immortal who often came here to drink disappeared. There were bursts of thunder in the sky, heavy flames, and the shouts of killing were earth-shattering. The fear deep in his bones made him hide in the depths of the lotus pond. With a loud noise that it will never forget, and accompanied by a strong sense of weightlessness, it fell together with the entire lotus pond. After everything calmed down, it never saw the white-robed immortal again, or even anyone. Practicing day by day, coupled with the lotus seeds in the lotus pond, its cultivation became stronger and stronger. When it finally had the strength to break through the restrictions of the lotus pond and get out, it realized that its name was Han Hao. Following the natural trend, it began to taste a delicious thing called human. Then the notoriety of the 10,000 years cold cocktail began to spread in the Antarctic region. Qingming scripture. Su Junming shook his head. The technique that the man in white robe passed down to Wanzai Han Hao was enough to enable him to achieve the immortal realm. It was somewhat rare, but it would not be able to provide much help to him now. But who is this man in white robe? Although it was just a scene in Wanzai Han Hao's memory, it was not enough to get a glimpse of the opponent's strength. But even so, Su Junming could sense the opponent's extraordinary strength from just the traces of a scale and a half-claw. Definitely above him. This person must be the Golden Immortal. And judging from Wanzai Han Hao's memory, this person probably died. Otherwise, this light realm, as his dojo, would not fall from the spiritual realm. Subconsciously looking up, his distant gaze traveled across 9 days, as if he saw the vaster and vaster world. He has been collecting news from the Lingkong immortal realm. The reason why he came to the Antarctic Little Light realm was because of some speculations in his heart. Now the facts have confirmed his guess, the Tianhui mountain has indeed fallen from the fairy land in the sky. But it didn't give him enough information about the fairy world. Suddenly, strange fluctuations were introduced into Su Jun's sea of consciousness. After a short time, the lotus pond began to boil instantly like boiling water. Soon, a huge black shadow flew up from the lake, accompanied by earth fire and magma. Roar. The earth-shattering roar was like a hurricane passing through. This is a gigantic beast that is hundreds of feet tall. There are 2 fleshy wings on the front half, and the blue-black scales are like cast steel, emitting a cold and hard light in the sun, and the huge wings cover dozens of feet. The 4 dragon claws are extremely sharp, and their curved arcs are terrifying. Near the back half, there are 2 rows of thick animal feet that are several feet thick and about 13 or 14 feet long. The tail is fan-shaped, about 30 to 40 feet in diameter, and is covered with scales and barbs. The head is shaped like a crocodile, with a huge mouth open, and sharp fangs like razors, sharp and hard. There is no doubt that this is a powerful monster beast that is not much inferior to Wanzai Han Hao. Su Junming looked at the giant beast roaring in mid-air, as if it was venting its depression. No unnecessary actions were taken. Anyone who has seen Shushan knows that in the little light realm of the heavenly god mountain, in addition to the thousands of years of cold grass on the surface, there is also an ancient Yuanshu hidden underground. Yuan Tao is a dragon and a descendant of a poisonous dragon. He is born with the ability to control poison and earth fire, which is completely opposite to Wanzai Han Hao's attributes. It can be said that he is a mortal enemy. All things in the sky are both yin and yang, and so are the strange animals. However, Wanzai Hanhao has obtained the true inheritance, has the skills to accompany him, and his progress in cultivation is still faster than that of the ancient Yuan Hao, so this Yuan Hao has been hiding near the center of the earth and dare not show his face. And Wanzai Hanhao is not willing to go deep into the center of the earth. In this environment that is not friendly to him, he has an unpredictable battle with Gu Yuanzu. Therefore, the two great demons have been relatively peaceful with each other for thousands of years. But since they are enemies, each of them pays the most attention to the other. Suddenly noticing that Wanzai Hanhao's aura had disappeared, the ancient Yuan couldn't bear it any longer, so he rushed out from the center of the earth. Roar! Ah! The roars of various strange beasts came from a distance. In the sea outside the Tianhui mountain, because of the strong spiritual energy, there are many creatures that have turned into monsters. They have been imprisoned by Wanzai Hanhao and kept there so that they can chew them when they need them. Now that Wanzai Hanhao was captured by Su Junming, the restrictions on them disappeared, and like Gu Yuan Hao, they rushed here one after another, intending to see what happened. Looking at the demonic clouds filling the air, Su Junming shook his head. This wonderful place in the fairy mountain cannot be reduced to a demon cave and a devil's kill. The Ksitagarbha divine gate above the head shines brightly, and the vast silver light covers the entire world as the sun rises. The ancient Yuan Tao had a very high level of cultivation. He sensed something was wrong and was about to escape. However, as an innate spiritual treasure possessing 6 spiritual taboos, Ksitagarbha divine sex power is undoubted. The speed of light was extremely fast, and before it could take action, it was enveloped in silver light. In an instant, a tyrannical force of confinement blocked all its magic power and even its consciousness. The Ksitagarbha divine gate rose slowly, and the vast silver light reached its extreme speed. In just a moment, the entire Tianhui divine mountain was enveloped. The magic power of Su Junming's middle stage true immortal is combined with the magic of Ksitagarbha divine sect, directly sealing everything inside the Tianhui sacred mountain. Su Junming, who was sitting cross-legged on top of the divine gate, was so powerful that the seal in his hand was certain. Receive. In an instant, all the people and monsters with traces of cultivation in the Tianhui mountain were taken in by the Ksitagarbha divine sect. Of course, that includes the city that never sleeps. With a wave of his sleeves, he urged Hu Tianxian to perform his magic and reach the top of the Antarctic. Activate the bronze mirror and look at the sacred mountain that is 1/3 located on the bottom shell, 1/3 located in the sea, and 1/3 exposed above the sea. Take a deep breath. His right hand gently stretched forward, and a mysterious talisman began to flicker in the palm of his hand. Along with the vast magic power, Su Junming's palm expanded rapidly, getting bigger and bigger, but in an instant, the entire Antarctic became dark. This astonishing strange appearance quickly alarmed countless monks on the surrounding 72 islands. Looking at the giant black shadow in the sky, everyone's mouths opened in shock. "Dad, what is that?" The handsome-looking young man in a long robe looked at the sky in the distance in astonishment. Standing next to him was a middle-aged man wearing a green Confucian robe, with 3 strands of long beard on his chin, and a serious expression. The latter looked around for a moment. "That's a palm." "What? Your father was right, that is indeed a palm." The white-haired woman wearing purple palace clothes next to her spoke. "But, how is this possible?" Boom. There was a loud noise like the beginning of the world. But when I saw that giant palm holding the sky, it suddenly reached down. The once empty mid-air suddenly burst into dark red fire. Even though they were far apart, everyone could feel the heat blooming in the fire. The giant palm, which was nearly 1,000,000 feet tall or even larger, seemed to ignore the fire in the center of the earth that even the earth immortals did not dare to cross easily, and suddenly penetrated deep into it. Along with the earth-shattering sound of waves, the earth suddenly shook. Accompanied by the roar of thousands of giant beasts, a huge mountain was grabbed out of the flames by the giant hand descending from the sky. That's the sacred mountain outside the sky. Xie Shan, who was wearing a grey robe, had a look of disbelief on his face. Ye Bin, who was next to him, didn't hear his words, because the earth fire magma rushing out from the ground was like thunder from the sky, and even the voice of Xie Shan, who was close at hand, was suppressed. Thousands of feet of magma, like an angry wave stacked up in layers, madly venting its power with the anger suppressed by the sacred mountain outside the sky for thousands of years. If this fire is allowed to erupt, the Antarctic ice will melt, a huge amount of water will merge into the sea, and countless islands and coastal areas will be submerged. This is an unimaginable disaster. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 627. All people with a righteous mind understand the seriousness of this matter, but looking at the earth fire magma that is thousands of feet in diameter and is still expanding rapidly, ordinary earth immortals cannot even think of suppressing it. Just when many people were feeling anxious, a magnificent stone gate with a height of 3,000 feet suddenly appeared in the sky, with 6 complex patterns embossed on its surface. The stone door opened, and the surging power of swallowing continuously swallowed all the erupting earth fire magma. 3 talents divine sect, true Lord Chongshan. Ye Bin blurted out. As the Chongshan lineage grew stronger, San Ke Shenmen, the most precious treasure of Chongshan Academy, became more and more known. Especially Ye Bin, who almost became a disciple of Chongshan, was particularly concerned about this. So I recognized him at a glance. Moreover, only true monarch Chongshan can do this, to activate San Ke Shenmen to such an extent. As the giant palm grabbed the heavenly mountain, both began to shrink simultaneously. At the same time, the blue divine gate slowly pressed down and gradually disappeared into the ground. After the giant palm and the sacred mountain disappeared at the same time, a tall figure wearing a green robe and a green gourd hanging around his waist appeared in front of everyone. Xie Shan secretly said, "Sure enough. High above is the true lord of Chongshan, Senior Su. Yi Zhou of the Black Turtle Palace is here to pay his respects." The loud voice echoed across the sky. Mr. Yi is so scheming, Xie Shan thought to himself. Brother, let's go too. Nodding towards Ye Bin, the two of them jumped out of Admiralty Island and flew straight into the air. Thousands of monks who could fly in the air on the 72 islands all took off in unison. I want to meet the famous Lord Chongshan, the dragon that sees its head but never its tail. Especially the scene just now was so shocking. It also allowed people to see the great power of Lord Chongshan. It also makes people want to see the face of this rumored senior in the spiritual world more and more. Yi Zhou of the Black Turtle Palace had long since become an earth immortal. He flew high into the sky with his main wife, Aunt Yang, 2 side wives, Lin Mingzhu and Lin Fangzhu, his son Yi Sheng, and his daughter-in-law, the green-haired fairy Wei Qingqing. He came to stand 3 feet away from Su Junming and looked at the small mountain peak that was less than 3 inches high in the palm of his right hand. It was extremely compact but exuded a vast aura, and he took a deep breath in his heart. Although there are magical powers such as the universe in the sleeve and the Buddha's kingdom in the palm of your hand in the cultivation world, I have never heard of anyone who can hold the sacred mountain hundreds of thousands of feet high in the sky into the palm of his hand. You must know that this not only involves the Hushan alliance, but more importantly, the Tianhui mountain is extremely heavy. Without earth-shattering magic power and great magical powers, there is no way to take it away. Taking a deep breath, his face became more respectful. Yi Zhou of Suangi Palace pays homage to Senior Chongshan. The daughter-in-law, son and daughter-in-law who came with him also hurriedly bowed and saluted, not daring to overstep for a moment. I have heard of your name for a long time. The seniors have won the prize, and the juniors have nicknames. It is really an honor for me to be known by the seniors. Yi Zhou placed his status very low. Su Junming smiled lightly. I heard that you have a daughter named Yi Jing. Yi Zhou's heart tightened and he didn't understand why he asked. After nodding quickly. My little girl Yi Jing was born just 3 years ago. Do you have a mentor? My little girl is young and has not yet become a disciple. If you don't mind it, how about I recommend a master to her? Senior is willing to introduce me, so it would be great. But I don't know whose disciple I want my daughter to join. My 7th disciple, Miao Chufang, has now become an earth immortal. She has a strong mind, profound cultivation, and profound merits. Her teachings are enough for your wife to achieve the path of immortality. Yi Zhou secretly said, sure enough. As soon as Su Junming opened his mouth, he knew that the other party wanted to introduce his daughter to Chongshan. But he didn't know that his daughter was born only 3 years ago. How did the other party know the news? It turns out to be fellow Taoist Hung Hua. Miao Chufang was reincarnated, and after joining Su Junming's family, she successfully entered the fairyland. Today, she is revered as the Red Flower Holy Mother in the spiritual world. Of course Yi Zhou would not know this. Senior, the matter of apprenticeship is related to my daughter's future path. Can you allow me to think about it? That's the way it should be. Su Junming nodded. Asking Yi Jing to become a disciple was just an idea that suddenly came to him after seeing Yi Zhou. Whether it succeeds or fails, it doesn't matter. Although Chongshan Academy was established in Shushan for only more than 20 years, it has already established an unbreakable foundation. Even without Yi Jing, it would not hinder the continuous development and growth of the Chongshan lineage. Ye Bin and Xie Shan pay their respects to Senior Chongshan. Su Junming nodded and said, I haven't seen you for more than 10 years. You have also advanced to the fairyland. Congratulations. This is also thanks to the help of Senior's many sermons, Xie Shan said respectfully. Senior, did you take over the Tianhui sacred mountain just now? Ye Bin asked respectfully. Good. You are brave, Junior. The Lord of the Nightless City, Qiankang, has always upheld the right path and has never caused many killings. He is completely different from the monster Wanzai Hanhao in the Little Light Realm. I hope seniors can open up and let him live. When did I say I was going to kill him? This. Ye Bin's face changed slightly. She and Qiankang were good friends. When she saw that the Tianhui mountain was taken away by Su Junming, she was so concerned that she didn't think much about it. Su Junming stretched out his hand. Nearly 100 points of light flew out from the Ksatagarbha divine gate, and soon there were nearly 100 more figures in the field. The one at the front was a middle-aged man wearing a purple robe and a golden crown, with a majestic aura that exuded peace. After leaving the Ksatagarbha divine gate, the seals on them were finally released. Master. A woman wearing a purple skirt quickly flew to the middle-aged man's side. After comforting his wife, the middle-aged man took a breath and bowed. Qiankang, the city that never sleeps, pays homage to true Lord Chongshan. After Su Junming nodded. The heavenly mountain is taken away by me, but I can return the nightless city to you. In addition, if you are willing, you can name a disciple for me. Qiankang's city that never sleeps, with Su Junming's ability, can easily be moved out of the sacred mountain outside the sky and built into a small cave. But after all, this cannot compare to the wonder of the heavenly mountain, so the named disciple is his compensation for Qiankang. Moreover, this person has meritorious deeds and behaves decently, which is also considered suitable for him. Qiankang was also a decisive person. After hearing this, he thought about it briefly and immediately knelt down. Following him, all the disciples from Sleepless City behind him knelt down. Disciple Qiankang, meet my mentor. Yi Zhou, Ye Bin, Xie Shan, and others had complicated expressions when they saw this scene. After seeing the scene where Lord Chongshan pinched the heavenly mountain with his giant hand, he knew that the other party's level of mana had reached an incredible level. Although he is only a registered disciple, Being a registered disciple under such a powerful sect is not only not a shame, but is an opportunity that countless people seek for. Su Junming smiled and nodded. I see that you are practicing Shuidao, so I will give you the Chongshan Yuan Yang True Sutra, a method directly passed down from my Chongshan lineage, and the Jellyfish Sutra, a secret transmission from my Chongshan lineage. These two sutras cannot be taught unless they are directly passed down by your disciples. Yes. A little red star flies into Qiankang's sea of consciousness. Su Junming opened his left hand, and a purple iron shuttle and a red gourd flew out. This iron shuttle is called the Purple Spirit Divine Shuttle, and it is a middle-grade immortal weapon from the Four Immortals. The red gourd is a storage gourd, and it is also the identity symbol of my Chongshan lineage. I will give it to you as well. Master, is this too early? Qiankang was excited as he held the two treasures in his hands. Before he had gone through the apprenticeship ceremony, he was given two secret techniques and two immortal weapons in succession. This was something he never expected at first. Su Junming waved his hand. My Chongshan lineage doesn't have so many rules. Since you worship me as your master, you are my disciple. Whether it's skills or immortal weapons, you will be treated equally. Stopping here, the resentment in Qiankang's heart dissipated instantly. Although I wanted to become a disciple before, it was more due to the situation. His free life as an earth immortal was interrupted, and the heavenly mountain where his Evernight city was located was taken away. How could he not feel resentful in his heart? Azure, silvery white, and mysterious black, the three-color divine gate emerged from the palm of Su Junming's left hand. His expression also became serious. Sankei Shenmen is the treasure of my Chongshan lineage. Only Chongshan disciples can enjoy it. Today I give it to you. You are my Chongshan lineage disciple. In the future, you must abide by the rules of my Chongshan lineage. If there is any violation, it will be difficult to escape even to the ends of the earth. Do you understand? The voice that penetrated straight into his soul made Qiankang's heart tremble, and an unprecedented fear rose from the bottom of his heart. Disciple understands that in the future, he should be cautious in his words and deeds, practice hard, and never dare to violate the sect's rules. After Su Junming nodded, he waved his left hand, and the projection of Sankei Shenmen penetrated Qiankang's danshan. Along with it, there are also the usage of Sankei Shenmen and various magical powers. As expected, it is truly a treasure of the town. It is truly profound and mysterious. The look of joy on his face was uncontrollable. Okay, you can take your disciples back to the Nightless City first. Remember, only those who pass the human character level test of my human soul divine sect can join my Chongshan lineage. Those who can't pass will not be accepted. Disciple, obey. Su Junming waved his right palm, and with powerful and mysterious spatial fluctuations, Qiankang and others disappeared instantly. Looking at Su Junming's palm again, there are a few extremely small rays of light on the periphery of Tianwai Sacred Mountain. Yizhou, who had sharp eyes, was shocked. What a mysterious Hushan Taoist method. The universe is in the sleeves, the sun and the moon are in the pot, now I can see it. When the monks around him saw Qiankang's apprenticeship, he had acquired the skill and even obtained two incredible immortal weapons. The envy in my heart has long been revealed. Even Ye Bin and Xie Shan are like this. They also had some impulses in their hearts, wondering whether they should be like Qiankang and become a registered disciple under true monarch Chongshan. But after many years of practicing Taoism, I had extraordinary concentration. After taking a few deep breaths, I suppressed the greed in my heart. Qiankang took the initiative to recruit his disciples. Now that they saw the benefits, they invited him to be his disciples. It was too embarrassing in front of everyone. Everyone, I have finished all my work. I am about to return to China. Farewell. Zhen, go slowly. We are also willing to be registered disciples under Zhenzin's disciples. I do too. And I. Ye Bin and Xie Shan can't be ashamed, but there are always many people with thick skin. Thank you for your support, but it's a pity that you have no chance to meet Pandeo. If it weren't for the purpose of compensating Qian Kong, and if he had great merit and could meet the conditions for accepting him as a named disciple, he would not accept him. After finishing speaking, Su Junming disappeared instantly. Although he was rejected, no one dared to say bad things. After all, the other party's methods just now were too shocking. Su Zhenjun is indeed a powerful man, Yi Zhou sighed inwardly. Just now, he didn't even notice the slightest trace of spiritual energy fluctuations. Ms. Sir, look. Aunt Yang's voice made Yi Zhou subconsciously look in the direction of her finger. But I saw that the place where the earthly fire once spewed out after the holy mountain was pulled out, now has no trace of fire. Huge amounts of sea water came from all directions, turning into vast waterfalls, flowing down. But where the sacred mountain is outside that day, there is a huge cave with a diameter of nearly 300,000 feet and a depth of 178,000 feet. Although there is a lot of sea water, it cannot be filled in a short time. It is foreseeable that after the big hole is filled, there will be many more small islands in Antarctica. Let's go back. After taking a deep look for a few times, Yi Zhou said. The Yi family nodded. Thank you, fellow Taoist, yeah, and Pandeo's family will take their leave. Fellow Taoist Yi, walk slowly. After they left, the people here slowly dispersed. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 628. Chapter 616, Yi Zhou's Plan, Yimei Chongshan. Returning to the Black Turtle Hall, a little girl with pink makeup and jade hair ran over. Dad, Mother. Oh, Daddy's good girl. Yi Zhou stretched out his hand and took his little daughter into his arms. It was natural that he would love her as much as he could when he was old enough to have a daughter. Dad, where did you and Mother go? Jing'er couldn't find you for a long time. Dad and Mother went to make toys for Jing'er. Really? The little girl's eyes lit up. Of course, look. Yi Zhou opened his left hand, and a windmill flashing with colorful light suddenly appeared in his palm. Wow, what a beautiful windmill. Do you like Jing'er? Like. Give. After taking it, the little girl struggled from his arms to the ground. Dad, Mother, I'm going to play. After saying that, he opened his short legs and ran outside quickly. The windmill rotated and made the braid on the back of the little girl's head float slightly. His vigorous little appearance made Yi Zhou and his wife fall in love with him. Be careful and run slowly. Know it? Watching her daughter run away, the smile on Aunt Yang's face slowly turned into sadness. My lord, do you really want Jing'er to become a disciple of Chongshan? Have I not made up my mind yet? Yi Zhou sighed. But you just saw how powerful Lord Chongshan is. How could such a huge mountain be taken away so easily? Recalling the giant palm that covered the sky and the sun, Aunt Yang also changed her expression. She is also an earth immortal who has been practicing for hundreds of years, but she has never seen anyone with such magical powers. Even when Master Chenmei had not ascended, he could not compare to the current master of Chongshan, Su Junming. And besides true Lord Chongshan, there are 7 disciples in the Chongshan lineage. Although only the 5 virtues true Lord Dragon Emperor is known to everyone, this person alone is able to resist Tianmeng and Beimei and sit in control of Kangmang for many years on the mountain, the demon corpse Gu Chen, the 4 evils of Bianshan, the red-haired ancestor, the 3 demons of Kangmang Mountain, and more than a dozen earth immortals were all captured and killed by him. Some time ago, I even heard that he had a dispute with his venerable disciple, the 7 elders of Lashan who lived in seclusion in Jialigong mountain. The 7 elders of Lashan who were defeated by the great 5 elements divine light alone would have lost their armor, if not for there was a life-saving talisman given by Zun Sheng, and I was almost captured in one piece. Think of it, the 7 elders of Lashan have lived for thousands of years. They are all masters in the realm of earthly immortals. In Jialigong mountain for many years, no one dares to mess with them. You and I may not be sure of winning any of them. Now that the 7 of them have joined forces, they can't defeat them. One person. The power of the 5 virtues true monarch is evident. Taking this as a guide, we can see how strong the disciples of the Chongshan lineage are. I am afraid they are already among the true immortals and have ascended to the spiritual world. Lingkong immortal realm, Ant Yang was shocked. Yi Zhou nodded slowly. They are all earthly immortals. Only when they ascend to the spiritual world, enter the cleaning pond, and have immortal status, can they be regarded as first-class heavenly immortals. But if you don't have enough merit, even if you have the magic power and realm, you will not only have no immortal status, but you will also be relegated to the duty service department for 100 years if you ascend to the spiritual world. In name, it is to examine the character of the mind, but in fact, it is just a servant for those high-ranking officials in the immortal court. They are all people who have become immortals and ancestors in the lower realms, and they are supported by everyone who wants to be a slave or a servant. Therefore, unless they have no choice or have accumulated enough merit, few earthly immortals are willing to ascend to the spiritual world. In particular, some people who practice magic practice in the lower world until they have enough cultivation to break through the blockade of the immortal court and break into the spiritual world. The old demon lord of Taicheng Mountain is the most typical example. Except for the first and second generation disciples of Chongshan Academy, all the disciples are earthly immortals. Even the latecomer Red Flower Holy Mother Miao Chufang is the same. 5 years ago in the Battle of Huashan, they defeated Patriarch Lihuo and swept across the Huashan section. This shows his strength. Now the third generation of Chongshan Academy also has several earth immortal monks. Even if all the first and second generation disciples ascend in the future, it will not damage the foundation of Chongshan lineage. He took a breath slowly and looked far into the distance. The general situation of Chongshan Academy has been established. Even if the Chenmei master comes to the world, it will be difficult to change it. Yimei has really met its opponent this time. Is that why you plan to let Jing'er become a disciple of Chongshan? Yi Zhou nodded. In 30 years there will be a great catastrophe for the immortals. If we, Black Turtle Palace, want to survive safely, we must rely on a big force. If there is no variable like Chongshan Academy, Yimei would naturally be the best choice. But now that Chongshan Academy has risen like a comet, Yimei's tendency to be the only one has become confusing, and now the heavens are in chaos. For my future plans for Suangi Palace, I have to think more about it. Yi Zhou sighed. If it were him, he would naturally not need to rack his brains to survive the catastrophe. But he still had wives, concubines, children, and the inheritance of Suangi Palace, so he couldn't help but not consider it. But how will her aunt explain it? I'll go and tell you Tan personally. In addition, didn't she say that Sheng'er has 2 sons who should become Yimei's disciples? In this case, the connection between us and Yimei will not be cut off. Clearly, he intends to hedge his bets. If this is the case, if the 2 factions fight in the future, won't Jing'er have to kill her nephew? Aunt Yang asked worriedly. No, it would be a good thing if that day comes. With Jing'er's qualifications, coupled with the resources of the Chongshan lineage and the assistance of my Suangi Palace, if her 2 nephews really meet in the future, they can just flip their hands. Capture and avoid a massacre. Aunt Yang nodded. Her daughter was born with an immortal body. As long as she received good teaching, her future would be bright. Hope everything goes well in the future. After leaving Antarctica, Su Junming went to Kangmang Mountain. Snake King Temple is still the same as before, but after simple repairs, it is no longer the dilapidated appearance it once was. The front of the mountain gate has been repaired, and the mottled stone slabs have been built into a platform covering several acres. There are many tall ancient pines planted around it. A stone road leads through the quiet pine forest to the mountain gate of Snake King Temple. On the boulder next to it, a big monkey wearing a Taoist robe, leggings, and multi-eared shoes, with his exposed hands and head covered with green hair, was holding a wooden stick and sitting cross-legged in meditation. Hearing someone coming, the big monkey suddenly opened his eyes, and two sharp cold lightning flashed away. However, after seeing Su Junming's figure, the big monkey was frightened and quickly turned over from the rock and prostrate. Disciple Museo meets the headmaster. Get up. Glanced at it? Yes, I haven't seen you for more than 10 years, and you have also advanced to the late stage of nascent soul realm. It's all taught by the master. The disciples don't take the credit. Su Junming smiled, nodded, and waved casually. This is the 5 yellow pills that I have trained. 1 pill every half month. After eating it, you will be able to reach the peak. Looking at the porcelain bottle in his hand, Mu Ba's face was filled with joy. Having taken Wuhuang Dan, he knows how precious this medicine is. Thank you, sir, for the medicine. After nodding, Su Junming stepped through the door. The Vajra statue that was once placed inside the temple gate has been removed. Coming to the front yard, the main hall in the middle and the side halls on both sides have been renovated. Under the tall pine tree next to it, there lay a strange beast nearly 10 feet long, with the head of a dragon, the body of a sheep, a single horn on its head, and its entire body was dark blue. At this moment, its eyes were slightly closed, as if it was in a false sleep. There is a bronze mirror suspended above the head, as big as a basin, with stars dotted in it, as if it contains infinite space. The aura of the bronze mirror flashes, consistent with the aura of the strange beast. This strange beast is Hechi, the Dragon Emperor's mount. He is born with the magical ability to distinguish between good and evil, loyal and traitorous. This is a magical power derived from the soul, so Su Junming specially trained a mirror of rewarding good and punishing evil for it, which can not only bless its magical power, but also have the ability to fight. Also, because of the existence of Hechi, Emperor Long also became the vice president in charge of punishment at Chongshan Academy. Whenever a disciple of the academy violates the rules of the academy, he will be responsible for judging and punishing them. Su Junming did not disturb Hechi's practice, but urged Hu Tianxian to perform his magic and came to the backyard. The backyard is a garden. The combination of pine, bamboo, orchid and chrysanthemum, rockery and pond here makes the scenery quiet and beautiful. The Dragon Emperor, dressed in black robes, sat cross-legged on a stone futon, with 5 colors of red, green, yellow, black, and blue flashing on his head. Qingyun bloomed 3 feet above the head, and a 9-grade green lotus bloomed in the middle of the lotus platform. A 5-color divine light flashed, a simple bronze mirror, a small black bell, a blue jade ring surrounded by water vapor, and a small mountain surrounding a dove-egg-sized Tao fruit in the middle, shining with colorful rays of light. The grade 5 elements divine light, the low-grade innate spiritual treasure void mirror, the lost soul bell, the sunflower water spirit ring and the portable cave are the names of these 5 treasures. The Kuishui spirit ring is the most special. It was originally an innate spiritual treasure. Later, after half of the innate immortal spiritual light inside was taken away by Su Junming to practice the Sankei divine sect, only a shell remained. Later, he was trained by Su Junming to become a high-grade water attribute artifact. Sensing Su Junming's arrival, the strange appearance on Dragon Emperor's head gradually subsided, and he slowly opened his eyes. You came. Su Junming walked over with a smile. Just arrived. He walked to the stone futon next to him and sat down. Looking at the quality of your 5 elements divine light, it seems that only earth and gold are needed to achieve perfection. The Dragon Emperor opened his palms, and a five-color divine light bloomed. It can be seen that red, cyan and blue are the most saturated, while yellow and white are slightly worse. When will it be consummated? The Dragon Emperor thought about it. If everything goes well, it will take 20 years. Su Junming nodded. This speed is fast enough. If the Dragon Emperor hadn't been born with an innate Tai Chi 5 elements basic Qi, which could quickly and smoothly transform the 5 elements Qi, and practice the great 5 elements divine light, I'm afraid it wouldn't be so easy to advance. He reached out and made a move, and the great 5 elements divine light flew into his hand. After playing with it for a moment, he returned it. This is what you want. Su Junming's eyes lit up when he looked at the jade box that was 3 feet long, 1 foot 9 inches wide and 2 feet thick in the Dragon Emperor's hand. He took it and opened it, revealing 3 things inside. A jade ruler that is 2 feet and 3 inches long, 3 fingers wide, and 1 finger thick, with a golden red body. A gold volume and a simple porcelain vase. Su Junming reached out and picked up the golden red jade ruler. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 629. Is this the 9 heavens Yuan Yang ruler? After playing with it for a while, Su Junming's consciousness was immersed, and layers of restrictions were reflected in the sea of consciousness. 9 levels of restrictions, top-notch high-grade immortal weapons. Su Junming was a little surprised. Originally, he thought that the 9 heavens Yuan Yang ruler was famous in the world of Shushan. This was at least a top-quality immortal weapon with 9 levels of prohibition and above. It seems that he overestimated this ruler. The mana penetrated deeply into Yuan Yang ruler, and he wanted to activate it, but a faint resistance came from the forbidden spiritual light. Interesting. It is described in Shushan that one must obtain the 9-character true talisman recorded in the first volume of the heavenly book before he can be an envoy. Ling Han didn't agree to the exchange. Agreed, but he wants to exchange the first and middle volumes of the heavenly book in his hand for the second volume in our hands, and the 9 heavens Yuan Yang ruler. Su Junming smiled lightly. He's not stupid. Grabbing the golden book and jade volume next to it, countless ancient tadpole texts came into view. Others may not be able to understand this complicated text, but Su Junming, who has collected countless Taoist treasures from 3 worlds, cannot be included. After watching for a while, Su Junming showed a smile on his face. This is an unexpected surprise. What is recorded in this golden book is all kinds of miscellaneous studies. There are alchemy techniques and more than a dozen elixir recipes, weapon refining techniques and dozens of methods for cultivating immortal weapons, as well as descriptions of some precious treasures. Rather than the so-called magical powers, what he wants more is this kind of knowledge that can be called cultivation of hundreds of arts. You know, there are many magical powers and cultivation techniques in the world of cultivation, but there are not many people who are proficient in refining weapons and alchemy, and there are very few inheritances left behind. Especially there are fewer high-level inheritances. It's a pity that he is not the direct descendant of Yu Qing, Su Junming said regretfully in his heart. This is also understandable. No matter how powerful Guangcheng Tianchu is, it is just a tool left by Guangchenzi to accumulate merit for himself. Unless you kowtow to become a master and teach in person, who would pass on the mantle to a person who doesn't know his roots? Even if he has great powers and can predict what will happen in the future is not static. It's a pity, but the content inside is extremely profound, especially the dozen or so elixir prescriptions, which can also be used by practitioners of Dao Jingxian in the future. With it as a reference, the time I spent deducing the formulas of Remenya pill and Tian Huang pill was reduced by more than half. After reading the contents, Su Junming became curious about the contents of the first and middle volumes of Guangcheng Tianchu. Turned. Can I contact Ling Hun? Do you want to agree to his conditions? Said the Dragon Emperor. Su Junming nodded. It's just a high-grade pure yang immortal artifact. With my current ability, I can refine it with enough materials. In comparison, the content in the Guangcheng Heavenly Book is indeed unique. If we have it as a reference, we can, with the help of the bronze mirror, deduce the cultivation method that leads directly to the golden immortal. Ling Hun's cultivation level is only in the early stage of Earth Immortal. With your ability and mine, it's easy to capture him. Why spend such a high price? Su Junming smiled and said, we are the ancestors of a sect after all. If we do this kind of bullying and secretly sap things, the reputation we have accumulated in Shushan over the years will be ruined. The gain is not worth the loss. The higher your cultivation level, the more important your reputation is, especially when you are the ancestor of a sect. If your reputation is ruined, how can you recruit good talents and strengthen your sect in the future? The Dragon Emperor nodded. Although they can keep things very secretive, if people don't know what to do unless they do it themselves, there are a lot of monks in this world who can be reckoned with. We have already received a lot of secrets of practice. Do we still need to exchange the Guangcheng Heavenly Book? Moreover, aren't you going to get the Guangcheng Golden Ship? I believe it must contain the inheritance left by Guangchenzi. Su Junming thought so and stopped insisting. But he really wanted to see if he could understand some of the magic of Yuking's direct transmission from the Guangcheng Tianchu. The Shangqing Daidong Sutra he practiced when he first entered Taoism contains the wonders of Shangqing Dao. The Yimei Nine Heavens Mysterious Sutra of Shushan and the Secret Manual of Zifa contain the magic of taking. If you can understand some of the magic of Yuking from Guangcheng Tianchu, he can get a glimpse of the mystery of the Three Pure Ones' inheritance. Although it is only a superficial part, with the assistance of the bronze mirror, it is impossible to understand a more subtle skill that contains the magic of the Three Pure Ones. By that time, Chongshan Academy had truly laid a solid foundation and had the foundation to become a great sect. Compared with this purpose, a mere piece of Nine Heavens Yuan Yang ruler is nothing. Of course, all this is based on his speculation. No one knows whether Guangcheng Tianchu is a profound skill that Guangchenzi accidentally acquired, or whether he combined the Yuking skill and adapted it. Su Junming expects it to be the latter. The last thing in the porcelain vase was naturally the famous soul-gathering and form-refining pill. The Guangcheng Tianchu contains a prescription for the soul-gathering and form-refining pill. Coincidentally, Su Junming has the main ingredients for refining the soul-gathering and form-refining pill: morning dew flower, tongmei grass, and yaokai jade lotus. However, the soul-gathering and form-refining pill has similar effects to the 3UN soul-consolidating pill, both of which can dispel evil and remove siltation and purify the origin. But the function of the soul-gathering and form-refining pill is obviously better than that of the 3UN soul-strengthening pill. Opening the porcelain bottle, he poured out one pill. After looking at it, Su Junming put it away again, like a gourd on his waist. This elixir is not a chi-boosting elixir, and he has no use for it, so he should leave it for later. When are you going to leave for Yuanzhang? Don't be in a hurry. It won't be too late to go after I complete the ritual training at Tianwai Sacred Mountain. The Dragon Emperor frowned slightly. We have no shortage of training ground, so what are you doing by taking over the Heavenly Mountain? After all, it is a fairy mountain. After some practice, it can definitely become a top-notch fairy weapon. Are you short of immortal weapons? Haha, of course there is no shortage of it, so I want to practice it into a celestial magic realm, so that I can open Chongshan Academy in the upper realm in the future. The Dragon Emperor nodded. Follow me. Su Junming flicked his fingers, and the celestial elephant gate flew out instantly. The two of them flew into it one behind the other. Soon, a huge space of complete nothingness, 30 million miles in size, appeared in front of us. Su Junming opened his palms, and an extremely small mountain slowly flew out. The moment it was out of his hand, the hill suddenly changed. A huge mountain with a height of 3 to 400,000 feet suddenly landed. The two stood side by side in the air, and the Dragon Emperor looked down at the giant mountain below. You have finally mastered the Pantuo Divine Palm. Su Junming had a smile on his face. Taoism has the world in its sleeves, and Buddhism has the Buddha's kingdom in the palm of its hand. After he comprehended the Tao of space and entered the realm of transformation, he also wanted to create a great magical power of his own space. With the help of the bronze mirror, what was finally achieved was the Pantuo Divine Palm mentioned by the Dragon Emperor. This is the great magical power formed by the combination of his martial arts body and the use of space Dao. To put it simply, he used his palm as the foundation and opened up a huge and stable space on it. The stronger the physical body, the stronger and larger this space will be. With Su Junming's physical body now at the peak of the mid-level warrior general, the space in his palm is as huge as 1,000,000 miles. Combined with martial arts energy and blood, it gives the physical body powerful strength. Not to mention capturing a sacred mountain outside the sky, even a few more can be captured. It's a pity that there is still no way to integrate the magical effect of the sealing way. At that time, the Pantuo Divine Palm was truly successful. Take your time, it's not that easy to become fat in one bite, the Dragon Emperor said. Su Junming nodded. While the two were talking, several streams of light flew from the sacred mountain outside the sky. It was Qiankong and his party. Disciple Qiankong, pay homage to my mentor. Su Junming nodded and pointed. This is your third uncle. Disciple pays homage to third master uncle. The Dragon Emperor nodded expressionlessly. Looking at the cold-looking Dragon Emperor, Qiankong felt uneasy. He found that the aura revealed by this third uncle was much stronger than the rumors. Don't worry about it. Your third uncle has a cold temper and treats everyone with a dead face. Yes. Okay, please stand aside for now. Qiankong accepted the order and obediently took his wife and several disciples who came with him to stand aside. Su Junming raised his right hand, curled his fingers into a sword, and made a seemingly random stroke. A series of extremely sharp sword energy filled the sky and the earth, rushing into the sacred mountain outside the sky. He frowned slightly and thought to himself, what a hard rock. During the second wave of sword energy, he strengthened his magic power. Qiankong, who was on the side, was shocked by the tyranny of the sword energy, and also found that they had accurately cut off his dojo, the Sleepless City, from the Tianwai sacred mountain. Su Junming reached out and grabbed it. His right hand instantly expanded into a giant hand that was as big as 10,000 feet. As if grabbing a toy, he easily grabbed the thousands of acres of Evernight City and the hundreds of feet of foundation underneath. The giant palm holds the city that never sleeps. Su Junming opened his mouth and spat out, and a ray of flame flew into his palm like a sharp arrow. In an instant, monstrous fire enveloped the city that never sleeps. Qiankong saw it in his eyes. Although he knew that the master would not kill him without aim, he felt very nervous when he saw the huge flames. About half an hour later, Su Junming put away the flame. With a thought in his heart, thousands of magically transformed arms formed from his back. Each arm is forming a seal. The seals flew towards the city that never sleeps. With every point absorbed, the city that never sleeps shrinks by 1 point. Under the torrent of seal rituals, the city that never sleeps slowly shrinks to the size of an adult's hand. With one move of his hand, the Evernight City flew into the palm of Su Junming's hand. After examining it for a moment, he nodded with satisfaction. He looked at Qiankong with a concerned face not far away and waved casually. Let's go in and have a look. Qiankong nodded, followed the techniques taught by Su Junming, and led his disciples back to the city that never sleeps. The rich spiritual energy that surrounded him was no less than when he was still in the heavenly mountain. Looking at the familiar city that never sleeps in the distance, as well as the surrounding towering mountains and quiet scenery, there is a hint of excitement on his face. Sir, is this really our city that never sleeps? Seeing his beloved wife's disbelief, Qiankong smiled and said, "We have lived here for hundreds of years, don't you know us?" "I know, it's just hard to believe. Such a small point can actually contain such a huge space."